How many times is the Ethics Commissioner going to be investigating Prime Minister Justin Trudeau? Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. Yes, Justin Trudeau is going to have his actions looked into once again by Canada's Ethics Commissioner. This will be the fourth time that the Ethics Commissioner has had to look into how the Prime Minister conducts his business, whether he's taking free trips to the Aga Khan's private island or, as is the allegation in this case, helping further the interest of a private individual by using his position as PM, and by the way, your tax dollars. The individual in question that Trudeau is allegedly helping out is his good and longtime friend, Tom Pitfield. Trudeau and Pitfield have known each other since childhood. When Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre, was Prime Minister, Tom's father, Michael, was the clerk of the Privy Council and later a senator. A Liberal senator appointed by Pierre Trudeau. They've known each other that long. Tom Pitfield was even in Justin Trudeau's wedding party and went to the Aga Khan Island with Trudeau for that vacation that, of course, got the PM in hot water the first time. So now, what's the allegation? The allegation is something that I've been reporting on for a little while, that the Globe and Mail has done plenty of work reporting on and breaking news on, and that is that the Liberals have been using taxpayers' dollars to fund companies that also look after their election campaign. Tom Pitfield heads up a company called Data Sciences Inc. They provide the software that helps the Liberals target voters using big data. What can they find out about you from your social media accounts? What can they find out about you from comments you've left on websites? How can they target you using all of this information? This is what Tom Pitfield does for the Liberal Party during the election campaign. But he and an American firm also used during the elections are also under contract using taxpayer dollars. Now, this has been an attempt was made by the Ethics Committee to look into this, but the Liberals used tricks to shut that down and make sure that it couldn't happen. They called it a nothing burger. They say that everything they're doing is above board, that it follows the rules, that these are all allowable expenses. Well, conservative ethics critic Michael Barrett wrote to Mario Dion, the Ethics Commissioner, raising some interesting questions. Let me read to you from Barrett's letter to Dion. Quote, "This raises several questions related to Section 8 of the Code. Does Mr. Trudeau personally know what services Mr. Pitfield provides to his two offices? Why has Mr. Pitfield supposedly been hired to provide a training service that is already provided by a separate vendor? Has Mr. Trudeau ever discussed these contracts with Mr. Pitfield? How many contracts has Mr. Trudeau given to Mr. Pitfield, and what is the full dollar amount of those contracts?" Those were some of the words that Michael Barrett, conservative ethics critic, sent over to Ethics Commissioner Mario Dion, who replied with his own letter saying, yeah, there's enough here for me to look into. Quote, "Based on this information, you allege that Mr. Trudeau may have improperly furthered the private interests of Mr. Pitfield in contravention of Section 8 of the Code. In light of the information provided, I am of the view that your request meets the criteria set out in subsection 27.2 of the Code." That, by the way, is the part of the Code that says, well, if there's enough information there, and a member asks for an investigation, the Ethics Commissioner will proceed. So this is not a full-scale investigation. Dion has promised to get back in 2 weeks, but it's enough that he says there's something there to look into. Once again, Justin Trudeau's actions, how he uses his office, how he allegedly benefits his friends, is being investigated by the Ethics Commissioner. How many times does this have to happen? He's the only Prime Minister to have been found in violation of the Ethics Act, not once, but twice. And the last time, I believe he got off on a technicality. Dion didn't even interview him in the We Charity investigation. Now he's being looked at again. This is a government with serious ethics problems when it comes to dealing with your money and rewarding their friends. Remember that when we head to the polls, most likely later this summer.